when we all work together, right? That will become more clear as we do more episodes. But we do an apartment or a townhome project that's exclusively for rent, right? Oftentimes we have investors that come and would buy a fourplex or a 20plex or something below market value, or at least that's what we represent, right? Why are they doing that versus somebody who buys it from that investor years later for much more? Why are they doing that? Could you give some color to that?
Well, if you're buying it pre-construction, you're getting, for our sake of what we do, you're getting it at a wholesale price, right? So they're able to get in with less skin in the game. And then they're able to take advantage of the equity. Whereas the builder, if you're buying something else, the builder is the one that's going to be taking advantage of the equity, or the owner of that property, if you're buying existing, they will have taken up some of that equity. So you're really buying it at retail if you're buying existing versus buying the new construction model. So there's pros and cons to that. Some people like to take advantage of that. Build time takes a lot longer. So some people say, hey, I don't want my money sitting on the sideline. I need that income right now. I want that cash flow. So I want to buy existing. And they're willing to pay a little bit more for it because they know they're getting something that, again, is stabilized versus something that is projected and could take them quite a bit of time. I know when we work and talk with investors, we say in our project specifically, plan on 6 months for it to be fully leased up, right? That's best case scenario. But
sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower.
Yeah. But I mean, even if you look at it segueing somewhere a little bit different, you go to a syndication, you know, those people, they'll tell them plan on 12 to 18 months before you see any kind of return once it's completed. So we're talking about a bunch of different options here, but
yeah, a syndication is you invest into like a partnership. You're taking a share of a company that then goes and buys an apartment building. And so what she's saying is that you're not going to see any returns for 12 to 18 months at least, because the operator, right, the person that you invested with that's kind of leading the project, they've got a lot of work to do, right? In apartments that are existing, oftentimes that's referred to as a value add. They go buy an old, dilapidated building. We're going to go put in new carpet, new countertops, kick out the deadbeat tenants, raise the rents by $100 a door. That thing's worth a lot more all of a sudden. But that just doesn't happen overnight. That's a complicated process. So if you invested into that syndication, they syndicated the capital, they're not going to be ready to pay you any kind of returns or any cash flow until that process has really settled down, right? And you get to take a little bit lower risk in that case because you have a piece of a very broad and diverse asset, 200 units, right? What are the chances that you're not going to have cash flow? Because at any given time, over those 200 units, you're going to have a vacancy rate. You're going to have a certain percentage of tenants that are not paying you rent, right? Well, when you're the only owner of a property, you get to feel all of that vacancy rate. So that's why a lot of people like to go into a syndication, because it's just a more even-keeled experience, right? Those bumps get smoothed out through the syndication model. But if you buy what we would call fee simple, build to rent or real estate, that means you're the owner. Just like the house that you live in, you probably own it fee simple. You can buy it, sell it, mortgage it. It's your property, but you feel all the bumps when something like that happens because it's 100% your problem because you're the only owner, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's also the advantage of doing something where you're getting multiple doors versus one door, right? So if you buy just a single townhome or a single family property, right? If you're going into getting a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex, something of that nature, you're not feeling that pinch as much when you don't have one tenant paying versus if you own one door and one tenant doesn't pay, you're next on the line for all of it, right?
Yeah, you have multiple streams of income to service that
Yep.
debt, those taxes, the carrying costs associated with the property.